Well, there's better news coming out of Tasmania tonight. Scores of people who were officially listed as missing in the fires there have now been accounted for. It's a welcome but rare bright note. The Fawcett fire remains out of control and is still a cause for concern. West of Hobart, crews continue to battle flames at Lake Repulse. There is a new blaze at Montumana, while the threat at Bashino has eased. Our reporters Ben Lewis and Rory McLaren are in Tasmania covering the disaster. Let's cross live to Ben now in Denali. And Ben, once again, the nation is reaching out to Aussies in trouble.
Matt, the Prime Minister has described it as true Aussie mateship. Huge amounts of money already raised for the Red Cross bushfire appeal, and it's money that is very much needed because this morning some residents were able to return to their homes to see scenes like this. It seems unfair in a way. Some homes completely destroyed by fire, and then the place next door absolutely untouched by the flames. The fires are still burning strongly only a few kilometres from here, so it's under smoky skies that residents contemplate how they will ever recover from this. Tony Young knew his home would be destroyed as soon as he saw the wall of fire heading towards his town.
It just breaks your heart. It's alive in there. It's everything, you know.
The Prime Minister seeing the destruction firsthand, touring what used to be the Denali Primary School.
See something like this.
Oh, certainly. I mean, everybody can imagine what their school looked like, where school their kids go, and to see one in ashes and ruins like this is very, very, devastating.
As locals find ways to get back into bushfire-ravaged areas, the damage becomes clearer. Hundreds of homes and businesses gone.
It's gone. It's gone. We didn't have any insurance, so I don't think we'll get back on our feet as far as the business goes.
Residents of Dunalley relieved to hear no bodies have been found in the charred ruins. But the grim search continues in the more densely forested areas of Murdunna and Summers Bay, and police say they can't be certain no one has died.
It's quite a complex process to identify exactly who is unaccounted for and who isn't.
The Tasman Peninsula remains split in two. Tourists and locals can only head to Hobart with a police escort.
Families, with kids, and they're stuck. They couldn't get a boat. Yesterday they cancelled all the ferries.
Those left behind surviving on food donated and ferried in.
This has all been donated and brought across on a fishing boat from people of Hobart and at Kingston last night for all the locals down here.
Petrol is being rationed.
A little bit there for a while.
The shortage of fuel and lack of electricity forcing many locals to abandon their homes and seek refuge in the capital.
The kids have just about had enough. We've been here from the start, so yeah, it's just time to get them out of here, yeah.
Insurance assessors will enter burnt areas from tomorrow, but it's the personal cost residents are most concerned about.
It depends on the insurance. I don't think we were particularly covered, to be honest, but we'll find it out in the next few days.
Very few residents will actually be able to spend the night here in Dunalley. There's very little accommodation, there's no power and no running water, so they'll be heading back towards Hobart to the main refuge centres. The Prime Minister toured them earlier today, as did 10's Rory McLaren.
Heartfelt support from the nation's highest office.
And Matt, some good news regarding the weather. It will be cooling off in Tassie over the next couple of days, so some much needed relief for firefighters.
Great news indeed.
Victoria Police have extended a helping hand to their Tasmanian counterparts, joining the painstaking search of properties for any signs of fatalities following that state's devastating bushfires. In all, 126 homes were destroyed, the majority in the tiny hamlets of Denali and Fawcett, where fires still cause concern. 10's Ben Lewis has been covering the crisis and joins us now. Ben, what role will the Victorian Police play?
Stephen, it's a very difficult task, but also a very important one. The officers only arrived this morning. They were sworn in and sent straight to the devastated community of Dunalley. There, they've been spending the day going from property to property looking for any human remains. It could be a busy few days for the officers ahead as well, because fire authorities are warning that the fire threat is not entirely over.
We are concerned, though, that the weather will warm up tomorrow and Friday, and that does, again, present a risk to the management of the fires that we have. Please keep your ear to the radio, keep in contact with emergency services because we still have many fires across the state that are uncontrolled.
For residents who've already had the fire front pass through their properties, their minds now turn to the recovery process. And recovery isn't just about reopening roads and putting in new power poles, it's also about emotional recovery. A lot of locals have been through some very traumatic experiences over the past few days, and one local has shared with us some dramatic video of what it's like to have a bushfire arrive on your doorstep. As fires raged towards the isolated community of Connolly's Marsh, residents fled to the beach and watched their town burn. Children and pets rescued and put in boats. Jonathan Daly saved his house before sprinting to safety.
It was hell on earth. It was insane, mate. Unbelievable. Never seen anything like it, and I hope never see anything like it again.
Soon the skies darkened with smoke and ash, and the fire front moved on.
Yeah, no, we'll just have to start again. Try a bit harder.
Connolly's Marsh is one of a number of small towns dotted along the Tasmanian coastline which remain completely isolated. There's no power, no running water, food supplies are running dangerously low, and the only way to get in and out is to avoid police roadblocks and drive off-road through hilly terrain. Limited supplies have arrived in some areas. Farmers who have lost stock desperate for help.
I think it'll be 5 years. I have heard reports that people have lost 4,000 sheep.
The state's seafood industry has been devastated too, and there are no tourists to buy what survived.
And the police have blocked off all the roads, and all we're seeing is the emergency services.
Donated food has begun to arrive in the devastated town of Denali, and insurance claims are soaring as people return home. The damage bill now almost $50 million. In Beaconsfield, a well-known face inspired firefighters.
They're suspecting a southwesterly change this afternoon, so we've got to try and work as quickly as we possibly can to try and contain the fire inside the containment line.
Rescued miner Todd Russell, a long-time volunteer. And while sorting through the ruins of a family home is a heartbreaking task, a surprising find brought unexpected joy.
This was Nanny's house, and she passed away on New Year's Day, and she wanted this ring to go to our daughter.
A very lucky find indeed. And Stephen, to give you some idea how crazy the weather has been down here, when the fire started last week it was 40 degrees. Today there has been snow in some parts of Tasmania, and then it's heating up again tomorrow.